inheriting their roles, which is shocking in itself. But the way this has been handled within Buckingham Palace and the relatives is extraordinary.
It is classic in how not to have done this. It is an extraordinary decision. They're turning their back on the royal family effectively. They're effectively almost abdicating. They say they're going to carry out some public engagements, although it's difficult if they're spending some of the time of the year in North America. We don't even know if it's Canada yet. They say they're going to try and be financially independent. No clue how they're going to do it. What is jaw-dropping is that the Queen learnt this watching television when it broke on TV news. No respect to the monarch as head of the family. He works for the royal family. Harry, it's in the title. It's on the tin. Royal family. He didn't tell his father, and he didn't tell his brother. 2 future kings. Astonishing. Rude and discourteous is an understatement.
They are Republican double agents, aren't they? I mean, come back to Republican base, because this is a real crisis for the royal family. They're still reeling from the Queen having to sack her son, Prince Andrew, over his friendship with a paedophile. He may yet be investigated by the FBI and have to answer questions. And now you've got our grandson resigning, effectively resigning from the royal family. This isn't supposed to happen. He's married a woman of colour, as they say in America, a black woman. It was presented as the modernisation of the royal family, all of a sudden looking more like Britain of today in the wider world. And now they're off. I mean, it is astonishing. And I agree that lack of respect, not telling the Queen, his grandmother, not informing her, not consulting her, not his dad, just doing it themselves. It seems impetuous.
In his statement, he says how he wants to honour and respect the Queen. How disrespectful is it not to bother to consult her, seek her advice? She's a very experienced woman. This is a woman who was scarred by the abdication crisis. Let's not forget that. Her father became king, wasn't supposed to be king. The Queen Mother always blamed his untimely death on the pressures caused by becoming king, the reluctant royal. In fact, he smoked heavily, was probably more of a factor. But nevertheless, this was a huge issue for the Queen. And in a sense, he's abdicating in one sense because he's pretty much walking away and moving abroad.
With his brother William, he was the next generation, the future of the royals, where they were going.
Thing as well. This is a real loss for the royal family.
And he was very popular. Yeah. But he's been whinging and complaining since he got married a lot. I mean, clearly Meghan Markle, the royal life isn't perhaps what she expected it to be. We don't know. We know what she said in that car crash interview she gave in Africa. I'm not living, I'm existing.
Look, and he previously said his real fear is that the same thing will happen to Meghan as happened to his mother Diana, being hounded by the press, the paparazzi.
By the paparazzi.
Well, he thinks it's all, in many respects, he thinks it's all the same.
I understand he's got a lot of issues, and he's talked about his mental health being damaged, and remember, as a young boy, losing your mother, then being forced to walk behind the funeral cortege, and so on. In many ways, you admired the way he overcame his problem with drugs, wearing that Nazi uniform, falling out of nightclubs on school nights. And then he went to the armed forces, and he served in Afghanistan twice and wanted to. And of course,
Victor's Games has been a great credit.
All that was good, but it seems they seem a very troubled couple, and in many ways they've got everything. I wish in one way they'd done this earlier instead of getting us to pay for all the security of that wedding and 2.4 million quid on a cottage. At least we could probably sell that now and recoup some of the losses.
No, they're keeping it.
Oh, God. Anyway, but this is a mega
spanner. I was going to move into the next. Apologies to interrupt. Get you to the next paper. The Rogue Royals. I mean, this is right up the street of the Daily Mail, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair.
But look, there's a fantastic quote here. One exasperated said. Yeah. People had bent over backwards for them. They were given the wedding they wanted, the house they wanted, the office they wanted, the money they wanted, the staff they wanted, the tours they wanted, and had the backing of their family. What more did they want? Well, they clearly want something more, but it seems they want to be public figures and private at the same time. And of course, if you're a public figure, you're entitled to some private life.
But you can't
private
as well as public.
Yes, well, they just had 6 weeks out of the public eye completely in Canada.
You can't be an eco warrior and then complain when it's pointed out you shouldn't be going to these conferences in private jets. And say this is unfair. I'm sorry, there's a contradiction there. You've got to take the rough with the smooth at the time. It seems they want deference. That's all they want. Now, she would have had that as an actor, living in Toronto, lots of PRs, when he had to go on public events when they vetted them in advance, and you can mould it all. But it's a bit different when you join the royal family. It was even the business over the baby Archie when they wouldn't show its face initially. Now, look,
we saw it.
I'll drive them. I'll drive all of them who want to leave to the airport. I'll do it for free as long as they promise not to come back. All right? I think it's an antiquated medieval institution. It's ridiculous. The royal family gets shot of it. But nevertheless, if you're going to have it, I understand. You have a pact with the people.
Yeah.
You need public approval, and that approval you get by performing a role. And if people want to see your baby, you've got to show your baby.
Yeah.
You want to worry when no one wants to see your baby, not when they want to see your baby.
But you see, there's clearly a problem with the family, isn't there? Because they were going to be very close. Remember, they were going to be called the Fab Four.
Yes.
William and Kate, Harry and Meghan. They were going to live next door to each other in Kensington Palace. That didn't work, did it, living next door? They moved to Windsor at great expense to the taxpayer. And they withdrew from the Fab Four, doing their own thing. Clearly, there's been a fallout there.
But do you think it's time we knew what the fallout was, actually?
Well, he alluded to it, didn't he, in that interview in Africa? He's effectively confirmed.
Well, we know.
They were taking different paths and all of that. But I mean, is it over Meghan? You know, is there veracity to the truth that William had said? You barely met her before the wedding.
Well,
that's all true.
He was very worried. William had known his fiancée for a very long time before he married Meghan Markle. Before he married Kate.
But there is something else said, and it's said from very good. We can't say legally.
Okay.
And you could see how they would fall out over it, and that there's a problem in this in this discussion because of that.
And it's such a shame in a sense because as a dynamic four, they would have done extraordinary for charity, would they not?
Yeah, they did that one discussion about mental illness. Remember, they were on the platform together, but clearly there was issues there.
That was positive, though.
There's talk of rivalry between the two women. I think, why don't they just look at William and Kate, who I think barely put a foot wrong?
But come on, it is a profoundly dysfunctional family, the royal family.
Yes, it is. If you're Prince William and Kate, you know exactly what your role is.
Look at
the heir and the spare business.
Come on, no. Look at Andrew. Look at where.
He had the same issue.
Yeah, but they're all. Come on, they're a bunch of weirdos. This is shameless with money. It is welfare. They've generations. They've been supported. You throw the dice. Sometimes it comes up all right in the DNA. Other times it doesn't. But that family is odd.
You're saying this simply from your Republican stance.
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not. I'm saying it as somebody with a family too, a member of the public, somebody who
the royal
pays
family are hugely popular. People love them. They're a great part of our national fabric.
Well, and tourism, I suppose.
And huge for tourism worldwide.
And this more people go to Chester Zoo than Windsor Castle.
This story will be reverberating worldwide for days and days.
It is.
They are the most glamorous, famous, gilded royal family on the planet, and I think they're a credit to Britain.
It even makes the front of the Guardian.
Rogan Britain.
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan step back as senior royals. They've got their new website, Sussex Royals.
And they're still calling themselves royals.
And they've pulled back from the royal rota. They say they're going to have specific journalists invited to specific events, partly because they feel that royal correspondents are deemed to have expertise around the world, both in their work life and their private life, and that has led to an amplification of error.
They don't want journalists. They want PRs. That's what they want. They want people who'll just go along and say whatever they want.
Puffery.
And I can see why they want that, but it's not. We're going to get in that role, and respect has to be earned. I accept most people respect the Queen. If we elected a president and she stood, she'd win hands down. That I accept. But once you go away from that, I think people are getting a bit tired of the whiners.
I think people have a lot of respect for the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla. Now that woman had a pretty terrible press before and after the death of Diana. She withstood the barrage. She's there, and I think she's quite popular now. And I imagine that one day she'll be on the throne with Prince Charles. They could have learnt a lot from Camilla, but they've just pat their trunk and off they've gone. Well, and they feel a bit petulant, I'm afraid. That's how it feels to me.
Well, I want to see.
In fact, Penny Jr. was saying that this is very like...
Well, she's a very respected
when
royal writer.
Diana, after her divorce, quit from 50 charities, and they were all devastated by it.
She did it overnight.
And she talks about this being impulsive, petulant behaviour.
Well, he's obviously got a touch of his mother about him. Where did she do it? She did it at...
Centre Point.
Jeffrey Archer was on the platform with her. Those charities were devastated because she was their patron. They didn't know it was coming. All these charities that they're patrons of, they say, we'll do what we can. Well, how can they if they're moving to America?
Well, he can't sponge off his dad through the Duchy of Cornwall if he's going to be financially independent. They're going to drop the titles, but they don't. I bet you when they come back to fly to this country, they don't want to queue for passport control like everybody else. I bet you when they want getting cars, they want motorcycle outriders.
And how they become financially independent.
How do they do that?
Tricky,
well, look at the history of that. Look at Prince Edward and Sophie Wessex. They had a PR business and a film business. They both had to be closed down amid a welter of scandal. Same. Look at Fergie. Oh my God! If she's the role model of how to make money if you're a royal, not good.
But the next edition of The Crown on Netflix, she could play herself can't she? Yeah.
Yes. Plenty more stuff to come, including a potentially significant endorsement in the Labour leadership race. We'll be discussing that after this.